get Bookmap up. There you go. Boom. Liquidity downside 52.52. NASDAQ is dropping. Rolling over. On down. The chop, baby. The chop. What's up, LJC? How you doing? 18448. If you're in the southeast United States, be safe the next couple of days. We have some bad storms rolling through. 18450. So looking around the market here, we've got NASDAQ is down 0.68. They're down 125 points. ES is down 0.3. All of the top 10 is red. Every single one of them are red. And then, of course, 7 of the top 10 are green for the SPY. Mainly being XLK is red, XLY is red, XLC is red. Everything else is green. Crazy stuff. So just like we talked about, man, Wednesday we got super bullish on NASDAQ. And what do we say? Don't get bullish. Don't look for breakouts. Don't get euphorically bullish. It's all about playing the chop. Sell the highs, buy the dips on repeat until we break it. Even if you lose on playing the pattern, you're still putting probability in your ballpark. And then if we break it, cool. Now we'll start to look to play the breakout. If we break down, we'll look to play the breakdown. But till then, you sell the rips, you buy the dips. That's what's been happening for 4 months now, since December. Over and over and over and over. I'll be honest with you, man. A lot of people I follow on Twitter over the past couple of months have been dwindling in terms of their content production, the trades they take, the things that they're doing. And it's because this market is starting to chop a lot of people up. A lot of people up. It's not the easiest market to trade right now because it's back and forth, back and forth. Unless you're trading something like NVIDIA, which, you know, just buy and hold. But other than that, man, it's a grinder out there. I've been seeing people paying for focus on swing trade. Yeah, definitely. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just people are starting to see what the real market is. What the real market is that it's not simply buy and hold it. Hold a swing call. Now, if you're, you trade an ES, like you're trading SPY stock, yeah, you'd be fine, which is normal long-term swing trading, which is typically always the winner. But yeah, man, you're starting to see it. You're starting to see it. So don't get discouraged if you're fighting the chop out there. ES has 52.80. We've got 52.68. Big green candle on NASDAQ, buying back up. And bounce-a-roni. What's up, Sam? Terp Lord. GameStop is an amazing investment opportunity. Definitely. Keep on buying GameStop for real, no cap. Or DAX. Yeah, DAX go up, skyrocketing every day. 18,468. Apple's coming down. Nvidia's flat. Microsoft is flat. Let's take a look at the Dow here. Where we go. Got to rescale my charts for a second. Little top wick coming back over. Red, big green on the Russell, big red on the DAX, big green on the NASDAQ. XLF is red and falling. Big time pressure on the banks at the moment. And so far, we've got a 35-point bounce on NASDAQ and going in typical fashion. That's how we open, is huge upside green candles to clear out the order book. And off we go. Boom. Yeah, ES pounced up to 52.80, which is about a 5 or 6 point bounce there. What do I expect this week? I would say continuation of the pattern. I wouldn't venture to say chop, although it could happen. I would say continuation of the pattern. 1 second. All right. Yeah, congratulations, Pastor, on becoming a father. He's a daddy this weekend, so I'm sure you are over the moon. Rightfully so. Welcome, welcome to the world. Pastor's kid. I like it. Keep it up, baby. All right, top wick back over. Top wick ain't going along here, so yeah. Am I getting any? Oh, you're getting him, yeah. Heh, if he is, not for much longer. Great time to trade overnight. All right. Still no movement here on NASDAQ. Top wick, bottom wick back over. ES is holding 52.80, growing small green back up. My 2.5-year-old daughter has taken her big sister role seriously. She is super protective. Good. I like it. In all your years of trading, what's your observation of VIX? I mean, what is the price of VIX usually when the market is choppy? Well, this current environment, we are seeing definite VIX suppression, which all that really tells me is that there is no underlying need to hedge for downside, at least on a long-term basis. Yes, we are seeing consistent spikes into the 15, 16 area, but it quickly drops right back on off, at least the past 4.5, 5 months. And that's because there's no underlying need to hedge long-term protection on the market. That's what we're currently seeing here. That's why the VIX won't climb, it won't drop. It's just kind of pinned around the 13 area for months and months and months. So, all that said is that, yes, that is accurate, but the VIX becomes very accurate when it starts blasting. And that's when we typically get a lot of pressure because the market, all right, well, something's going on here. They need to put on protection. About a month out positions approximately, and they start putting on the puts to position themselves for any kind of hedging. So normally, you know, you have to realize before this time frame, before coronavirus, my career was spent with the VIX down in 11s, 10s, 9s, 11s, 12s. So it's very taboo for us, you know, to spend the entire of 2022 at about 20. We spent a whole bunch of time in the 20s, which is crazy to me. You know, 20 would mean like, you know, war. You know, especially if we spike to 30, there's something like a nuclear bomb or something. But now, you know, in 2022, that was pretty commonplace. And now, of course, we're creeping back into normalcy with the VIX. However, the VIX won't drop below 13. So I still think we are in a volatile market. We're just right now we're reaching the top. We're in the top out phase. So that's what I think. Despite somebody calling me crazy for thinking we're in distribution a couple of days ago, I think that we are in a volatile distribution phase. So yeah. All right. Still no movement here. NASDAQ's got a small red, but we're copping back and forth. Yes. The weird stuff going on is, of course, Friday. The market is completely closed Friday. No futures, no stocks. And yet we have PCE and JPAL on Friday. So how will the market absorb that the day before and on Monday, the day after? Comes a little bit red. What's up, Damien? How you doing? No, rule number 1, no over trading. Full transparency for you all. Unless I pull some rabbits out of a hat this week, it appears I will have my first red month of the year, which is typical. It's starting to develop a pattern here of March being a red month for me after a stellar January and February. That's all right. It happens, bro. I've been thinking about it all weekend. It's been nagging at me all weekend. But, you know, when you boil it all down, it's part of trading, right? Having a red month. Having losses. 52.80. As long as you contain it, there ain't nothing wrong with it. And keep it realistic. 52.80, 52.75, 52.67. NASDAQ has a little bit down here, but not all that much. Another bottom wick on NASDAQ. Can't drop below 58, which is the pre-market low as well, so we know that's going to be a bit of a hassle for them. Better a green week than trying to trade. Yeah, absolutely, Daniel. You're 100% right. So instead of trying to think back into green, what I'm going to attempt to do is just put on a good week. That's it. And if I get back there, which it would require a pretty great week for me to do it, so I'm not going to try for it, especially on a shortened holiday week. So, whatever. Put on some solid trades and do what I do. Coming off 455, 456. Here's a little bit more red. Let's see what we can do here. There's a little bit more pressure. And that seems to be a little bit of move. If they could take out the level of about 442, we could possibly start to take out, because that's the We're testing pre-market lows again, or the session lows right now. Here's a little pressure. Your transparency separates. Oh, well, appreciate that. Yep. Well, it's all about being realistic, you know. It's all about being realistic. Have I analyzed the losses yet? Yeah. Yeah. It's from trying to play the macro breakdown breakout. And we've just been following the pattern. I didn't. This is a difficult market for me to trade, I'll be honest with you. So it's the market that never goes down but never goes up either. So it's part of it. All right, 439, 438. We've got a little coming off here, 437. And dropping back off. A little bit more pressure. Sell side 950 on ES, so liquidity coming in. 4.3, dropping back over. Nice little move lower. I should have McGurky, 100%. 100%. 43275, still dropping. So now the pressure's taken out. We've taken out the big pivot right here from 460. If you remember from last week, this was my main area here. Right at this level. And now we're appearing to kind of wipe it very quickly out of the gate. Very quickly out of the gate. And we're going to drop down and we're going to see if we could test. Man, the next test here, I mean, right here, 410 will be a big one. Will be a great one. Watching how we react here. Yeah, definitely. Not many on folks ever mentioned losses. Oh, thanks, Tim Crown. Well, it's part of it, man. You know, it's part of it. I cannot, in good faith, try to teach y'all if I'm not talking to you about my struggles and my shortcomings, at least, in the markets. 1,000 sell on ES just filled. You're not getting the audio, right? You're not getting the weird Stephen Hawking voice. They just filled that major liquidity at 52.75, and now we got 52.67. SPY. Just wipe that all out. Same thing happened to me too a couple of times this week. Tried to play the breakdown, just didn't work. Yeah. What do the balls on the chart indicate? That it's a male. That it's a male market. I'm just kidding. The balls on the chart. This is a Bookmap. So this is indicating liquidity. These are liquidity flows on the market, which tells me where the participation is, where the buy orders are, where the sell orders are, etc., etc. Basically, though, if you boil it all down and nitty-gritty, where the market is participating. The market likes to seek out liquidity. That's where the activity is, and that's where we want to look for where the big stuff is. 52.67 and stuff like right here, where I tells you there's a great amount of participation there that's building. So I could, you know, with a reasonable expectation, assume that we're going to attract to this price. Maybe not immediately, because that doesn't mean immediately. It just means overall attracting to the price. And then, of course, this stuff right here, for example, will be a big target today and tomorrow, 52.50, as they are stacking about 1,000 orders right here collectively between 52 and 50. Dropping back off. Y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. 52.75. NASDAQ is coming off 420. I need to turn on some of my indicators here. I've got everything muted for my analysis this morning. Okay. Let me figure out where the next POC is too. 120 minute. All right, look at this. So let's take a look at the session range POC, which, you know, I try to come back to that. Look at this right here on the NASDAQ. This is the 2-hour chart. So I typically look at this on the 2-hour and 4-hour charts. So let's look at this chart right here and look at all of the POCs that have built up right here. So look, that's the same exact chart, but look at all the POCs in that yellow box. That tells me two things. When I see a majority of the POCs are centered in the middle, that's usually indicative of a range because the buyers and sellers are balanced. And I know if we were to fall back over to about 280, which obviously it's 150 points down or give or take, so I'm not necessarily looking for that today, but I'm just saying throughout this week if we were to drop, because remember this is a 2-hour chart, not the 5-minute chart, that range at approximately 18,280 will provide a great indication or a great spot for the market to start to at least to chop a little bit before absorbing and then dropping if that were the case. If this is a bearish week, that's what I would look for. And if this does turn into a bullish week, I would look for them to base about that area, because I guarantee you if you were to plot VWAP around the macro scale, VWAP would probably be somewhere in that ballpark. And I don't have it turned on right now because it's smack dab in the middle of this range. So just watch for the 18,280 if we do get a little bearish this week for a possible move. And then once we do absorb and breach that, I'll be looking on down into the lower 18,000s, approximately 1840. And this is that POC to kind of look around to see where the market structure is. Now, if we are in a reversal pattern or a bouncing pattern, a rejecting pattern, you're going to see all the POCs stacked to one side or the other. So if we're looking for a particular bounce pattern, I'm going to see a whole bunch of POCs lower, because typically what we're doing is in order to bounce, we have to have continued sell, 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 bottom wick, bottom wick, bottom wick, and then eventually release. In order to do that, you're going to have the volume come in at the bottom half of the range, which indicates buy pressure. Whereas selling climax pressure, you're going to have topside POCs as we continue to come back up and fill that liquidity to the upside. If that makes sense, let me know. If not, I'll continue to explain it. Does ES have the same? Let's take a look. Yeah, it does. ES is all about 5240. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 POCs on the 120-minute chart, all around about 5240, which will provide great structure if we were to retreat back down to that area in the next couple of days. Good morning from Tulsa, Oklahoma. What's up, Byron? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, buddy. Y'all ready for the solar eclipse happening in a couple of days? Yeah, buddy. At DAX, should it be around 17? Let me take a look. I typically don't look at the DAX. Let me look. There he is. 120-minute chart. Let's let it load. It's got to do the loading. Huh. It won't load for it. It won't load for the DAX for me for some reason. That's weird. Let me try something else. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Yes. So about, yeah, exactly right. There you go. 17,950. Beautiful. So 17,950 will be strong support for the DAX in the event that it fall over that far. Again, I don't really track the DAX that much, but that would be a great one. Next one below that is going to be at 17,720, give or take. All right. So we're still holding VWAP right here. We've got, I'm going to take a look at the old options data. Where's SPX at the moment? 5220. Ooh, that's weird. So we do have a green to bounce this thing back right back up off of that level coming up so far. And again, we're just going to apply the same theories. Now, I will say there's a good amount of exposure, about 20 points higher on SPX. So this could possibly pin back up in that area, which would be, I guess, they would turn that into a slight trend up. It depends on how quick they did it. That's the thing. Let me take a look here. 52.25. Yeah, 52.40. Yep. Let me take a look at the deltas. There's a whole bunch of positive deltas though for dealer positive delta. 30-minute hammer. Yep. Imagine the NVIDIA buy the dip, $15 difference in no time. Yeah. But what I would encourage you to do, what I'm going to do at least, is I'm going to plot the morning range just like always and play off of that. Play off of that. NVIDIA is rocket ships again. New high of the day, 950. Overall, they have broken back to green. Apple's bouncing back up. VIX is 1336. TLT's down. And it's a big conglomerate of back and forths. Michael Gayed is appearing on Yahoo Finance. Nice. NVIDIA should be headed to 960. There you go. 8 points up. I'll put up a new highs. let me full port then. Yeah. 60-point bounce on NASDAQ here. Climbing up. NVIDIA still rocket ships. ES is 52.81. Crazy volume on the 5-minute. Yeah, that 940 candle, you're exactly right. That was that buy the dip right there. And that came right off of a major top wick candle on the 15-minute. And now we have an engulfing green. So it shows you if this candle does close the 15-minute after wiping out, because we had a major top wick and now we have an engulfing green, in my case blue. Yeah, it'll most likely at least get back up to 52.92 on ES, which is only 11 points, but still. And NASDAQ should come up into the 565. However, remember, when we first pull off of a support like this, we typically don't go completely V. What we do is we have the bounce, small top wick, a couple of red, and then that's your entry point to buy it and then go higher. And that's that liquidity grab. They bounce it, roll it back over just a little bit, shake people out, and boom, then we go. So you make your green candle blue because you're colorblind or for emotional purposes, just control emotions. So it's a lot more soothing to me. I've gotten used to it now. I've been doing it for about a year now, and to me it helps me. Blue and white, there you go. Yeah, red and blue for me. I think the visual aspects of candle trading can be both a pro and a con. You know, for example, Linda Raschke in the book, there were no candles back then. It was all tape reading, which allows her to be very good at reading volume fluctuations. Whereas us, we grew up on the visual trading, looking at candles. So that's why I'm so focused on going, of staying put in volume so we can learn to read that tape a little bit better. Whereas other traders don't know how. They just know how to read the candles. All visual trading, which can hurt you if you don't know what you're doing. All my trading years, I have been trading ES and SPY. Now that I'm in prop firms, I'm trading NASDAQ. Can I completely ignore XLF? If you're only trading NASDAQ, yeah, you don't need XLF. It's not a part of it. At least not in a way that matters. Whereas XLF is like the top 2 or 3 X sector of the S&P. Apple is bouncing, NVIDIA is still squeezing here. I'm back inside. We got 16 inches of snow last night. Whew. Man, yesterday was the warmest day of the year. It's amazing. I feel for y'all. Although, I do want to do some skiing again. Switch the colors up. Yeah. In fact, some people, they do one single color for everything. Because honestly, the color doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. For the purposes of volume price analysis, VPA, the color of the volume candles, the color of the price action candles do not matter one bit. It matters not. He is your king. Black and black with your background is black. You know, honestly, RG, you would probably do better doing that than most traders. Because think about it. From a stat point of view, it's 50-50. You know, you could literally have a robot sitting at the computer and you program that robot to buy a call and a put with a 50-50 ratio, random times, and I guarantee you that robot would do better than most traders. Because the robot wouldn't care about taking puts at the very low or buying calls at the very high. It wouldn't be faked out by liquidity grabs and price action. They'd just simply be buying on a 50-50 ratio. And I guarantee you it would trade better than a lot of traders. The literal chimpanzee outperformed a lot of traders in the 90s, I bet. I didn't say 50, I said 50. You know me, Mr. Fitty. Can you explain prop firm trading for us noobs? Yes. I'll do a quick rundown. So there are two types of prop firms. You got the quote-unquote real prop firms, and you've got the prop firms that everyone talks about nowadays. Real prop firms are like institutional level traders. If you are a fantastic trader and you are you're one of those dudes who turned like 10 grand into 18 million or something, you can go apply to these companies. They pay you. They pay you actually cuts or a salary. They give you a line of credit and you trade like what you would think of some dude in like Limitless, the movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper or something like that. You go to a hedge fund and you trade. And then you've got these modern day prop firms that you can pay $11 and get $50,000 account and go through the evaluation phases. So that's the weird stuff, is that when you do a prop firm like Top Step or Apex or one of the other ones, I don't know what the other ones are, you pay your fee, you get your access to your account, and you trade on an evaluation simulation. It's not real, it's fake trades. You pass the evaluation and then they get you a funded account, which is still simulation trading, it's still fake. But they will pay you based on your trades, because they'll either they'll copy your trades with an algorithm, or they'll pay you on your payouts. And then once you show consistency enough, they will put you on a live funded account, like a real account. And now it's real. And with that account, you can actually put your own money in it too. You can actually take money of your own and put it into the account to give you more capital, and you'll do the split as well. So you could do that too on some account, depending on what account you choose, depending on which prop. So, and obviously there are a lot more rules tied to it. The rules are usually pretty predatory, like the trailing drawdown and that stuff, but it's a business model, and they're not in it. I mean, they are in it to get you to hit re-up 15,000 times. I mean, there are some people that literally have 500 or 600 evals that they've signed up for and blown, which is quite ridiculous to me. I don't know why you would do that. I mean, at some point, you got to kind of throw in the towel. I would rather take that money and put it in my own account. Imagine full porting puts due to RSI alone. Like SMB Capital, yeah, absolutely. Who gave Ohm access to my account history? Jeez Louise. So I hope that answers your question for you. All that to say, I'm a fan of prop firms as if you have no other option and you are a little bit disciplined. But if you're going to sit there and sign up for 15 accounts a day and blow them all up and just waste your money, absolutely not. That's not the way to do it. Sign up for one account, grind through it. In fact, my opinion with a prop firm is that you don't even need to try to get money on it. Try to do time. Try to say, can I keep this one account alive for 30 days? Try to do one trade a day and keep it alive for 30 days. Can you do it? Because the only way to do that is with smart position sizing. And if you can do that and still take one trade every single day and keep the account alive for 30 days, you will have now disciplined yourself to take proper position sizing. And then once you could do that, they can say, oh, well, I can actually do this. I can pass the $3,000 whatever, and I could actually get funded. But forget about doing minis. Forget about slinging big position sizes. In my opinion, I would even forget about doing YOLO accounts. I did a couple of YOLOs. They're absolutely giving them money at that point, which is stupid. I'm very cheap and frugal. Which, cheap and frugal are two different things. I put myself in both categories. So, I grew up in the Great Depression. I didn't have much when I was a kid. Hey, liquidity's gone top of the hour right here. I like it when you said do micros, get the reps in. Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. Get your reps in. Get your reps in. If you're working out, if you're practicing a sport, if you're doing something better, you always got to get reps in. And trading is certainly no different. Top wicks here, or bottom wicks. You had to walk up both hills. I did. So on the property we bought, we have a an old farmhouse on it, like just like completely dilapidated, and like there's no way you can even renovate it. But I found a jar of sauerkraut, no, cabbage. Well, I assume it's sauerkraut. It's chopped cabbage from 1974. Like someone had canned it, like in a jar. Pretty interesting. I'm gonna keep it as a reminder of two simpler times. No movement whatsoever on NASDAQ here. We're pinned to 18,470. ES is 5280. 1 point back and forth. And yeah. Better tasted to be sure. Talk about, you know, post-day, next day problems. Grandmother would serve that up. Yeah. It was exciting growing up when I got a new branch to fish with. Yeah. Open it, starts a zombie apocalypse. That's a great start for a zombie story. I found the jar and opened it. Took a bite. Do I know the history of your place? Yes, I do. So I went back to the deeds office, and I got the deeds all the way going back to the early 1800s. Just figure out, you know who had the property and what was it used for, and who owned the house before me. All right. So we have a little red coming back down. 2 points down on ES. Very, very tight price action. NASDAQ's not nearly as bearish as ES here, although I use that term very lightly. Apple's coming back off a touch. Not a lot of movement. Not a lot of movement. VIX 1330. Has anyone had this happen before, and how you would avoid it? With what, Brandon? Oh, watch out for markets. I bought a AMD 187 call at 831. It was trading at $1.75, then it flashed up and filled me at 244. Never had this happen. Interesting. That's happened to me before, but I need to look at the price action for AMD. That's weird. You know why that happened, Brandon? I mean, AMD popped up, but that happened because somebody was market ordering into that order. Somebody put a position out there to market fill, and they filled your order. However, I mean, if you look at AMD just rocketed from 172 to 177. Now, that call is pretty far out of the money, but yeah. Looking to short Google if we can get some more follow through. There you go. I'm looking around here. RTY is flagging. YM, I need a protein shake. I am starving. YM's coming off. If Russia retaliates with a declaration of war or invasion, what sort of response would the market have? Initial drop and recovery? Aren't war times traditionally bullish, or would it be in movement and we just need to bunker down? It depends on the severity. Again, you have to think about what's priced in. You have to think about what the market is positioned for. I hate to use the term priced in because that word is extremely overused and improperly used. But I think positioned for is a better term. What is the market currently positioned for? The market, I guarantee you, is positioned for some sort of activity with Russia. It is not positioned for like a nuclear war or a declaration of war on the United States or stuff like that. It's not positioned for that. So, and you'll see big volatility. And I can't really tell you, will it be green or red? Probably red at first and then absorb and then go green. Something like that. Because fear usually drives selling. And usually when you have something like that, an unknown event that's fear-driven, will sell off, will buy back up and go. In my opinion, that's something like that would happen. Now, obviously, that's dependent on the severity of the situation. You know, say if like 200,000 people were killed from a nuclear bomb, that would probably be pretty aggressive for the markets. We rented a house that was haunted. I was curious about that stuff, but did not want to live in it every day. Yeah. Yep. We actually have a pretty well-known, like, I guess whatever. I don't watch TV anymore, but he's got a pretty high-profile ghost hunter show on one of the channels, and he lives in our city, and he does all that stuff around the houses too. So. I'm doing a 20-hour fast, eating on the first meal at 4 p.m. and second at 8 p.m. Also following Lent for Orthodox Easter. Very cool. Suggest drinking warm tea or lemon water during the day to keep energy levels up. I like it. Very cool, Christos. Takes a lot of discipline to do a fast. Like opening range is keeping me disciplined. There you go. It is spring break week this week around the country, so I would assume a lot of people are on vacation and stuff. We have 50 less people in the stream this morning than normal, so it's a great week to do it. It's a great week to do it. Do we think we head that 52-52? Possibly, yeah. Possibly. That could be a tomorrow thing or today thing. I don't know. The pattern is still playing out very well. That's the big stuff. The macro pattern is still playing out. Sell the tops, buy the bottoms. So now the macro pattern would bring us back down into the 5200s, lower 5200s on ES, which is not that big of a deal, before another bounce. So I could see that happening this week. All right. We went to see a home and found it was built atop a Native American chief burial site. Owners selling it have lived there for 3 years and previously 6 other owners with a maximum ownership of 2 years, and the price of a home went from $325 to $115. And which is why we asked, why so cheap for 2,500 square foot for 8 acres? Yeah, dude, I've seen enough movies from the 80s to know that you do not need to buy that property. Don't buy that property. It's not worth it. A little bit of green. Climb it up. Poltergeist. Oh, yeah. Looks like we're getting a little bottom wick here. So still climbing 18.5. So that's the absorption right there. That's that little bit of retracement. We got very small retracement right here on this candle, but it happened. And now we actually held VWAP, and here's a green engulfing there. So didn't get much, but there's that one retracement. So we pop in kind of like a wave, boom, down, boom, and now we'll look for the next one. But it's a nice climb here. Nice climb. NVIDIA 960, still going right there. Very cool. Can I get 1,000 today? I think it'll sell off aggressively once it hits 1,000, though. I think it's going to be that psychological 0-0 level. So take puts on NVIDIA at 1,000. Amazon could have a good short setup, too, following volume and some weakness. I'll take a look. Be like Bitcoin hitting all-time highs. Yeah. Let's take a look at Amazon. Yeah, blasting. ES is bouncing back up. About 6-point move on ES. NASDAQ is bouncing back up about 80. When the market starts a proper correction, what time frame price action should you be looking out for? If I want to think about a proper correction, I'd be looking for longer time frame charts, of course. 60 minute to 120 minute all the way up to the weekly. The weekly is going to be very, very indicative of a big move kind of changing. Not to mention right now, if you look on the weekly chart, especially on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is oddly enough, the NASDAQ is much more bearish right now than the S&P. The S&P hasn't really bucked the trend. It's been choppy, but it's managed to go higher every week. The NASDAQ has been flat since beginning of February. Hasn't gone anywhere. And that's because NASDAQ has been the only real player that's kind of going nuts. Everything else is kind of meh, tepid. I think Microsoft did eventually put a new all-time high in, but they're certainly not what NVIDIA is doing. Whereas the S&P has XLE, XLF, along with XLK, and it's just been going nuts and nuts. But if you look on the weekly chart, the NASDAQ has two major top wicks into the 18,690 area with high volume on them. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I know some dude called me crazy a couple of days ago and said I was delusional, but I still think we're in distribution because we continue to have the big sell pressure on the weekly chart. But the whole point is that to look for the big moves, if you're going to look for a correction, we have to have major top wick, major volume that holds on the weekly. Yeah, Boeing CEO is stepping down, which is probably bullish for Boeing, if I had to guess. And big green on NASDAQ going. Blasting. 105 points on NASDAQ going up. And look for 13 more points on SPX, which would be 5250, 5240. NVIDIA, another crazy squeeze day. They're up 2.27. NVIDIA just went from red to green 2.5% in the matter of 40 minutes. It's crazy. $516. Still going, blasting. VIX rolling off again. Big downside flow on the VIX. And there he goes. NVIDIA squeezing once again. Another crazy buy up down NVIDIA, man. Never ending. Never seen anything like it. Crazy stuff. Can't hold the NASDAQ long. Nothing for nothing. Just going. 520.71. Wish I bought puts. I bought puts on NVIDIA last Friday. Just be careful with those. Does anything on NASDAQ Bookmap? No, but there's normally not much on it. They do have this 18.6 that's building, 18.625, and so there is a lot of upside. Although light, it is coming along. Definitely more than downside. Certainly more than downside. ES kind of took off this lower stuff. They got a little bit straddled up and down, 5290 and so. 5300 is the main level. Can you tell me if my NASDAQ SR levels higher are correct? 18,530 and 18,590. Let me take a look. 530, 590. 530 is great. Yeah, I like that one because it's prior pivots from back until Wednesday, and it's just at the high volume node for the POC. For 590, let's take a look. Yeah, 590 is pretty good too. Also pivots and its volume profile shelf. So I like them. Yeah, that's good stuff. I like it. I just got stopped out and got back. I just stepped out and got back. I'm glad sure I got on my CCSs. Not interested in things starts blasting upward. Nice, Mr. 50. Them puts got me. Yeah. Yeah, you got to have a really strong thesis to take puts on NVIDIA. I do expect it. I would look for NVIDIA to reject 1,000 pretty aggressively, but man, taking puts on it, whew, just be careful with them. I could walk through woods in the dark. I used to sell dangerous parts of the city, but the hairs on my back of my neck never stood up till I experienced a haunting. Uh-oh. 5285. Nasdaq still going. YM is coming up now. Russell has not moved yet. XLF is starting to bounce. So if XLF starts coming along as well, that we'll look for the S&P to kind of join Nasdaq here. Kasich Herberts is the only play. There you go. Thank you. That's terrifying, Kennedy. Terrifying. Still going, still going. So coming up along here, we've got the next target is going to be, I mean, honestly, it's 600. We do have a couple of micro pivots there, like I said, SR levels, but the next big target will be right about 600 for Nasdaq. And guess what? Once again, the pattern continues. The pattern continues. Look at the 2-hour chart on Nasdaq. It's ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous. Not going to lie. Can you talk about the patterns? Well, I'm not necessarily talking about rising wedges and ascending wedges and, you know, whatever that Head and Shoulders Pantene Pro V pattern. I'm talking about just the price action patterns, which I guess is, you know, whatever, same thing, semantics. But all I'm looking for in this particular market is repeating patterns. Repeating patterns. What is the market repeating, and can I exploit it? And right now, it's buy the dip, sell the rips, buy the dip, sell the rips, buy the dip, sell the rips. For months and months and months. For like what? 4 months now, the Nasdaq has been buy the dip, sell the rips in an upwards trajectory. So that's what I'm looking for. And it's uncanny how Nasdaq is respecting the patterns. Keep on cutting winners too short. Yeah, you and me both. That's okay though. Like I said, I'm playing carefully this week. I said I'm trying to just put on smart trades. You know, kind of stop. My first goal. Remember, like right now, I told you I'm having a losing month. So what's my first goal? Don't make it worse. You know, that's the first rule number one. If you're in a losing pattern, is don't make it worse. Next step is forget about everything and just put on smart trades. Cut position sizing down, put on smart trades. That's it. So that's all you can do. So that's what I'm trying to focus on doing is exploit the patterns, put on smart trades, not really much scalping, and go from there. If you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. There you go. I like a mojo. Beautiful stuff. 100%. YOLO to get green. Oh yeah, that's step number 3. YOLO into far outside the money calls. Keep digging. Eventually, you have a pool. I like it. Kind of lemonades type of make lemonade type of deal. We rented a place for the last 4 months. My lease had doors slamming and locking, banging, while someone sitting on our bed. Yeah, I can't say I would be in that house very long. So you don't go all Leroy Jenkins? Leroy Jenkins. Russian ambassador in Poland ignores a summons over missile incursion. Y'all know, y'all know the best way to defeat China, by the way? I read this. China has a very unique problem. They don't have water. They don't have water to give to their billion-plus people because they pretty much destroyed every single water source they've got because they're a very industrialized country for the most part, at least where their populace is. So they are importing water on a massive scale. So you cut off the supply of water, you pretty much you chokehold them, which will be a strategy in the event that things go down with them in the next year or two. It's insane to think about that you have to import water for 1 billion plus people. Because we can't get a new iPhone. Yeah. They import a lot from India. Yeah, Australia. What about desalination? Yeah, the problem is, though, what do you do with all the salt? That's the main thing with desalination, because I've looked into that before. You can't use ocean water for desalination on a massive scale, because what do you do with a massive amount of salt? You can't put it back in the ground, you'll kill the crops. You can't put it back in the water, you'll kill the fish. So what do you do with it? Green pop again, climbing up. Still going. Look at this thing, still going. 18535. Incredible stuff. Take the salt to the moon, yeah. Seasoned a lot of steaks, yeah. 533. So we just filled on NASDAQ a large iceberg. That may be one of the larger icebergs I've seen on NASDAQ in a while. Usually you don't get them that big. That's moderate for ES, but that's large for NASDAQ. Moderate. That's very large. CL just round over. Watch for a little downside action on CL. They look like they're breaking down lower. Sell side. That was a sell side iceberg. CVD just dropped about 1,000. $15.28. $530. Interesting. How did China destroy their water source? Industrialization and not a lot of regulations. I'm certainly no environmentalist myself, but yeah, they destroyed all their water sources. Top wick right here. So there's that sell side, a little bit of a top wick on NASDAQ, which would kind of lead us into a conversation on the 15-minute on rejection, because we are rejecting right now the low pivot from that 1:20 a.m. to well, I guess 2:20 a.m. Eastern time, right here, and that's what we're doing here, which is an SR test, support resistance test. Overfishing. There you go. What would happen if Canada was willing to supply the water to China? I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah. I don't want to speculate, but this could be quarter end of buying of big money allocators using futures to pump the market, get liquidity going single names. I mean, it's not a terrible idea. Right here. It's not a terrible idea. Boom. Nice little top wick right there off of the POC to the SR flip 3. We have large iceberg on NASDAQ. We'll see if it can hold. Well, you're right. Right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah. In my state province, we have more lakes than half U.S. alone. Dang. Did Michael Burry say water would be the next big investment? Yeah. He actually did say that, yeah. Invest in stuff people cannot live without, and water is certainly one of those. And I don't mean like iPhones. I mean cannot physically live without. Cemeteries, dirt, water, food. Bam. There's your quadfecta. $18,523. Yeah, that too, Tom Gunn. Oh, man. Is there much liquidity lower? No, especially on NASDAQ. ES has got some down to 5250. This big guy right here, but other than that, that's it. They have this guy coming on off and on 5300, 5280. Yeah, so the S&P is definitely a little bit more bearish than the NASDAQ currently, primarily because XLF is getting smoked, the banks are getting smoked. But we definitely have a good little rejection topic off of this area on down, which, you know, still providing a little bit of movement downward here. What time frame POC we're just referring to? The 5-minute? But looking at this move, it makes sense here. We have the SR test, the POC, and the selling iceberg there. $520. I thought Michael Burry was holding puts for 2024 Q1 last year. I think he closed them, if I remember right. It's been a while. I don't remember. Yeah, doesn't matter. XLF green. There you go. NASDAQ still dropping. $515. $52.80. NASDAQ's there. NVIDIA's still holding 961. Apple's coming up. YM is not moving at all. Russell's not moving at all. Very wiki stuff. A little bit more red. We'll see how far this downside will lead us. I was hoping this week would be less boring than last week. Well, until we get out of this overall chop, you know, we're going to have a lot of choppy price action. We'll have a couple of moves, like one sprinkled in each day and so, like we've been getting, but overall, the meat and potatoes of the price action is going to be a little choppier, which is why we need to play things tighter. And when the great thing is that when we finally do leave this range, it'll be fun. It'll be fun again. All right, so the 5-minute candle just started, and what happens? Immediately green candle on NASDAQ. The next cycle started, which does set our morning range, by the way, so we need to plot that. NASDAQ high is 542. I'm going to do something else too. 414.75. So we have a 130 point on range on NASDAQ, which is actually pretty healthy. ES, not so much. So ES is 52.87. And the low is 74.25, which is only a 13 point range. So that's much more tighter, much tighter, holy crap, than NASDAQ. You know the word funner is a word? Like, that was funner than today, not more fun. I always thought it was more fun. And I was correcting my kids, like, you don't say funner, it's more fun. But funner is actually a word. Didn't know that. Anyway. So here we're finally getting a little bit of move down on ES. XLF looks like it wants a top wick down. CL is still holding 82, riding the 8 EMA up on that one. But not a lot of movement. What's your morning range on ES? It is 52.87, 52.74. Have you bought anything in the long-term port? I have not. I have not. I've been watching it grow, baby. From Marianne Webster. Ho! All right. I got to rescale my charts. That was a 50 cent move, and it looked very large. Okay, I was zoomed in too far. NASDAQ is still retracing back over. I look for about 500 here to see if we can get through that. I just corrected my granddaughter this weekend. Yeah, it is. Trust me. Like, I've got to be, you know, us being parents. If you're a parent now, us being parents in this century, with everyone's got a phone or access to the internet, like, you've got to be on your game. I'm like, kids, you don't say funner. It's more fun. And they're like, Dad, no, it's funner. I'm like, no, it's more fun. And they're like, hey, Google, is funner a word? And then Google's like, here's the definition of fun, informal. Oh my gosh, Google. Hey, Google, stop. Yeah, Google just turned on. I'm sorry. They always do it, and they check me. It's like, geez Louise. Learning every day, baby. Should you pay more attention to the first hour trading range or the pre-market? The first hour trading range, well, you want to pay attention to both. The overnight high and low is a great point to watch, but in my opinion, the first hour low and high is the most important. The prior session high and low, the overnight high and low, and the current hour high and low are major pivots. Major pivots. Sorry about that, Kelly. It's Age of Tech. Probably Devo. Yeah. Mark, yeah, absolutely. We are rejecting right off R1 right here. It won't reset it, huh? What does it say, Tim Crown? That's crazy. Yeah, so for my long-term port, going back to that question, I don't anticipate adding much else for a while. What I think I might consider doing is start, like I said, is start putting on some hedges, because it's been really nice to have the valuations where they are after seeing what happened in 2022, both in my retirement and my stock holding. So I don't want to go through that again. So I think it's worth putting on some long-term position, like long-term hedges, which I think I'm going to do. Maybe some sort of collar position. So what you do is you start selling calls to pay for the puts type of deal. It'll be a net position, and it'll give me some protection. 526. Water blue what? Collar. Oh my gosh. Jeez Louise. Does anyone see a possible 522 today on SPY? My reading today is off. Let's take a look. 522 would put us... the upper end of the rejection. I mean, that's a major pivot. As if it's a target, I'm not sure, but that's a major pivot. My family's here having brunch, so all the kids are off at school, so you might hear some chatter in the background. Yeah, exactly, Dan. Yeah. I took one trade on MNQ looking for the downside as a V retraces. Got in at 18,509. Looking to sell off down 18,480, lost 12 points. That's all right, Pastor. Kept it small. Slamming some lamb? Yeah, buddy. Any good moves you see great potential in? Right now, no. Don't forget we have month-end quarter markup this week. For all the bears, you'll be betting against fund managers and their bonuses. There you go. Little red still. Nice little red engulfing there, 16 points. Somebody asked me about GE. Was it GE they asked me about? I'm pretty sure it was them. They've been on a freaking tear. Golly. Who would have thought GE was one of the major purchases of the year? They're up 300% in the past year. Gah. GE went from $49, and they're now at $175. Why have I not heard about this? Wow. Look at XLI. Let's see. Yeah, XLI has been beast mode too. Wow. You don't take a day off when your family comes in? Usually I take days off on holidays and stuff. But, you know, I have an obligation to you all, and unless I've got something super important, you know, obviously. But I'll spend plenty of time with them. I always seem to do the best with the stocks that are not in the news every day. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Thinking about taking my small grain and calling it small gain. Yeah, the action's giving me a bleeding ulcer. Oh my gosh. Nice, Paul. Boom is your night. Watch, now that GE is being discussed everywhere, they'll dump it. That's what they do. What is the VIX at? The VIX is currently 1321. And the VIX is now, it's only up 1.23% after being up a lot. Yeah, so from what I understand about the collar is that the collar can protect against roughly 5% upside and 20% downside. That's the whole point of the collar. So it offers protection. Let me see what this thing is at. Interesting. This is not the first time this has happened. Hey, get this. Get this. So the collar protects against 5% upside and 20% downside. And what's 5% over 50-15? On SPX. $18,516. I got 5265 on my account. 5265 is where we rejected on Thursday. We got to 5261 and we rejected on Thursday on SPX. Unless my math is wrong. Don't know if that matters or not, but it's pretty interesting. $18,514. Man, nothing's moving now. Let's take a look at the flow. I will say right now the dealers' deltas are significantly green for today and the week, which just means positioning. Let's hit the flow. Dogecoin's on the move. Cutting too soon could risk inflation becoming entrenched. Yep. Cutting too late can necessarily harm economy. Yeah. That's what they've been saying. Call selling on Apple. The flow on SPY is very mute. There's not a lot going on in the world of order flow or options flow today. Yeah, man. That's the balance. But you know what I think they're going to say? I think this is all song and dance for we don't know what's going to happen, and we understand that inflation is a lot higher than what's being reported, and we can't cut yet. They're doing everything they can to say that. Why don't I use MACD? I'll bring all that stuff back into my system when the volatility's kind of left. Which I guess honestly, that stuff probably would have more usefulness the past month and a half than it would have been the past 4 years. but it's not really my bread and butter until I'm in an environment where I can apply it with a somewhat consistent degree. But just want to show you my bot's performance on GEPCS is one of my best tickers. Nice. Very cool. 82% win rate, 6% return on risk. I like it. Touch of red here. Yes, it's coming off a little bit. This is the range here. NASDAQ bottom range is about, what, 500 or so, 505. So this little chop range, if you want to play a little 20-point range on NASDAQ and I guess a 5-point range on ES, not even 5 points, heck, 3 points. $18,510. ES just ate up that 5280. Our catalyst when market makers usually make the most of their money. Big release on volume. I wouldn't say that. That I don't know. What I do know is that what catalysts are, and that's liquidity. You know, what drives liquidity, and it's activity. And you can kind of do a flow chart here of how to stair step into this conversation. But, you know, the market seeks liquidity. Liquidity is activity. Activity is catalyst. Because catalysts drive emotion. And it kind of all ties together. When you've got fear or greed in the market's going to be very productive. It's going to be all over the place. When we're nearing the end of a move and there's not a lot of, there's like greed is starting to kind of come off and fear is going to start to build, and when you got that flip-flop, you're going to start to get a lot of choppy stuff, which is kind of what we're in now. Which is why we're facing this little consistent rejection pattern. Which is why I'm being very, very patient. This will be the third week in a row. I'm just kind of really just stepping on the brakes here on this stuff. Falcon 10 Aficionado. I eat MACD. I used to eat MACD. I am 25 days into 75 hard. No more MACD for me. My rule stipulated I take one trade per day unless it's red, and I'm just allowed one more trade. Oh, so I can only trade from 9:30 to 10. Beautiful. That's a fantastic rules, especially with a newborn. Fantastic. Correlation between 2 workouts a day, no cheat meals, and a red month. That's a great point. That's a great point. I can't think about that. Before you had Bookmap, have you used time and sales to see icebergs, and how is that done? Yeah, level 2. I use level 2 data, which is basically water flow. The icebergs are new to me in terms of Bookmap. That's what's introduced new to me. For me, it's I've always been a volume trader, which introduces liquidity for like the DOM and level 2. So you know, it's been eye opener to me to watch those other indicators. I don't understand NVIDIA. Euphoria. The market has to park their money in something that works. And right now it's NVIDIA, especially with the new options chain. Rally it. Is DWAC going to get pumped unless an illegal campaign type of... I don't care about it. Could be a speculative call play. Yeah. I mean, DWAC's going to go nuts if Trump ends up being successful throughout this whole process. It's going to go nuts. So it may not be a bad idea. If you think that all this... again, I don't want to go down that conversation, but yeah, in terms of your answer, I think if that comes out positive for him, DWAC will probably go nuts. My thesis still remains as earlier. I just got into the break of a psychological hole number 18.5. Just stopped out for another 12. Time I am my day. What are the chances of it working out? I don't know, man. I have no idea. This is the most taboo political environment we've ever been in. I personally don't think either one of those guys will be president. I think, yeah, either whatever, but I don't think either one of them will be president. I think it'll be either Kamala or Big Mike. That's what the plants crave. Yep. Yeah, that's also too. Oil. You could probably play downside on oil because he'll be for domestic drilling. President Camacho. And Bookmap, you only subscribe to Rhythmic data feed and DX feed. I do Rhythmic. Yep. Yeah, you only need Rhythmic to run Bookmap. I had DX, but once I started to add indicators, you got to use Rhythmic. I had DX feed. I had to subscribe to Rhythmic. Rhythmic will get you the MBO package and all that stuff. You're welcome. I got a solution. It's electrolytes. Brondo. Tulip Mania. There you go. Yeah. Tulip Mania was a call options mania back in the, I guess, what, 1500s? On the tulips, they drove up prices of tulips, and then they tanked it. People speculating on the price of tulips. You want to go back even further to that? You can use Thames, who history books say played the first style of options contract, call option contract. He exercised it. I have a story about Thames on my podcast, by the way, on the history of options. Did a little history background on who played the first call option in history. I'm sure back in the Neanderthal days, somebody played some sort of call. It's like, you give me stick, I will buy the rights. But the first recorded one is Thames for olive presses. Your chart looks like Lego builds. Jeez Louise. 5 to 10K a day. Whew. Man, that's a killer year right there. That first options transaction sounded like ancient China. I don't know. The original pump and dump, yeah. People said Bitcoin was tulips too at 2000. Well, it may be, but it's obviously gone nuts. Oh, there you go. There you go. 18,500 on NASDAQ. Slow bounce. We'll give this a little bit more here. Same concept here. This week, man, short holiday week. Last day of the month. We're just following the pattern. Following the pattern. It's a great opportunity to scale things down and just play the extremes. Buy the lows, sell the highs. That's it. A couple of micros. Appreciate you sitting through this with us. I bet with community settlers. Yep. Yeah, I would be at the farm right now. Absolutely. Because I work nights, so I would fly. I would come back. I would be outside. Yeah. But hey, I like it. It's a good conversation. And plus we learn. Without really use speculation. Yeah, well, I think you kind of nailed it on the head there, Agnostic, is that the speculating is what this market's turned into. Bitcoin, I think, is the textbook definition of speculating. Because there is no intrinsic value on Bitcoin. It's just literally speculating on price. So NVIDIA is the same way. There is no justification in existence that can justify NVIDIA going at 1,000. Nothing. But it's there because of euphoria and speculating. There's no reason why banks need to be what they're doing based on the fact that we're having massive amount of CRE defaults and massive spike in bankruptcies. But they are doing what they're doing. It's because we're in a speculating market with a high liquidity and high options contracts volume. So we are definitely in a speculator's market. There you go, Paul. It's good to cut it loose, baby. Good to cut it loose. It costs $70,000 worth of electricity to create 1 Bitcoin. Is that true? Taking any trades today? I took a couple of plays earlier, small scalps, but nothing much. Golly, that's crazy. What are you gonna do with Bitcoin? What are you gonna the F are you gonna do with a tulip? Yeah. Power hungry, yeah. GME's making a big move. Let's take a look. Yeah, they did. $13. Jeez Louise. Been a big move for Bitcoin. Bitcoin went from, or not Bitcoin, GameStop went from $120 pre-split to $13. Man, what a crazy chart that is. $4.62 to $120 in, what, 15 days? Meme stock, yeah. Cost me $7 Canadian today to make $24 in mining crypto. Huh. I got 8 3080 Gs. So you are the reason why I couldn't get a GPU last year, or 2 years ago. So would you rather trust the government or their printing? Oh, absolutely not. No. Trust me, I'm not hating on Bitcoin. I know nothing about Bitcoin. And I surely don't trust the government. So I would trust John Wayne Gacy babysitting my kids before I trusted the government. Trust me. It's terrible. Bitcoin mining on those H100 NVIDIAs. Isn't the H100 the big dogs, like the $500,000 GPUs or something like that? Something crazy expensive? $296,000. The H100 Tensor Core GPU. An AI H100 server goes for $296,000 right now. The chip itself is about $50,000. Golly. According to Google, at least. Golly. Just goes up every month, yeah. Can you comment if the Russia terror attack was ISIS? I'm going to stay away from that subject, if you don't mind. I have to be very careful on what I talk about and with opinion and what I hear at work. And I can't really discuss the things I hear at work because that would get me in trouble. We need me, yeah. In most cases, opinions like our hands should be kept to ourselves. There you go. There you go. I try to keep it that way most times. People ask questions like you're the ambassador to the U.S. Yeah. It's just, you know, whatever. Curiosity. I was skeptical until COVID, now I'm certain. There you go. Should one set daily profit goals? How does one call it a day? That's a double-edged sword, Vish. On one hand, you do need to have a point at which you call it quits. On the other hand, you don't want to keep on trading. Like if you put on a profitable trade, but it's not your quote-unquote daily goal, you don't want to keep on trading until you hit it. So I think a better idea is to have what's called a POQ, power of quitting value, which is you set a number of trades, profitable trades, at which point you are done. It doesn't matter if you only make 50 cents per trade. If you have 2 trades, you're done for the day. Shut it down. I think that's a better idea. And that'll force you to take high caliber trades. Because if you're telling yourself, holy crap, I've only got, 2 bullets in this gun. I need to make them count. You're not going to put them in a machine gun and start blasting. You're going to put them in a sniper rifle because you only have 2 rounds. So that's what I would do. And just be very, very selective with your trades. man. Thanks a lot. On the flip side, how do you call it a day when won a loss? Well, that one I'd be willing to put a dollar amount on it because, rule number one is don't make it worse. So you can make it 1% of your account. If you're down 1% on your account of the day, you shut it down. Or whatever number you're comfortable with losing that day. Or if you take 2 losses, you're done. Or you could do it where you just take 2 trades, period. Lose or win. I think the key word there is do something. Is to set some sort of parameter to keep you consistent. That's the key, because the reason why you're putting on, you're up 10% and down 30, or, you have 2 steps forward, 10 steps back, is because you overtrade and you don't have you don't have a triage in your system to stop the bleeding. You just bleed out. You get a paper cut and you bleed out and die over a paper cut instead of putting a band-aid on it. So I think that's the key point there is to have something structural in your system to protect you and keep you consistent. That's the whole thing I'm trying to teach you all, is consistency. And y'all will be far more consistent when you have some sort of foundation, structure to fall back on when things go bad. I've been using a z-score of plus minus 2 on any time chart based on determine if any move is significant. Thoughts? Are we getting the little stats here? Getting the z-score of some stats? Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you wanna, if you want to do something like that, definitely. As long as it's, here's the deal. Anything like that, because now we're getting onto intricacies of a system. Anything that you can apply consistently over a several week period is going to benefit you. Heck, even if it's freaking MACD, as long as you're applying it consistency across the long-term scale, I mean, then you could derive some sort of success or unsuccess from it and figure it out. That's better than nothing. Now, the reason why I like z-scores or any kind of outlier moves, if you want to do something like that, that's very analytical, is that you can derive over or under expected moves. If the market's exceeding expected move, now you're bringing in the option chain. The reason why you even have it is of an expected move is not because of liquidity, it's because of the options chain. The market liquidity doesn't care about expected moves. It's about the option chain because people are writing premium based on the expected move. And if one of the moves are getting breached, you could probably guess that we're going to have a mean reversion back inside it. So that's where the z-score or other type of expected move plays start to come into play. What about baseball news, dude? Ohtani? A little bit of scandal. Yeah, gambling, man. Just signed a $1 billion contract, and now he's getting all this trouble. Pete Rostani. Hilarious. Apparently he got, I don't know the details about it, but he got caught up in some sort of gambling scandal. Gambling on games. Which is what Pete Rose got in trouble for. Try to pin it on his agent. Wow. I got to read about that. MLB is going to protect him. Yeah, he was the new golden child, man. The rough 40,000-foot view of the story, yeah. Thanks for all your guidance. Should one trade a fixed contract size or a dollar amount on every trade each day? If you're trying to get started, yeah. That's not a terrible idea. But, as you get more advanced, you start knowing when to turn it up and when to turn it down. And that really depends on your emotions. It depends on the market environment. It depends on everything. If the market's slinging and shaking and baking, I'll turn up the position sizing a little bit. If the market is chopping like this, I'll turn it down. If I'm feeling, if I'm under the weather, I'll turn it down. If I'm like my current environment where I'm in a loss, then I'll kind of rebuild. Bring it back down to the foundation and rebuild from there. Mega Millions is at $1.1 billion. $1.1 billion. Y'all gonna play it? Who's gonna play a lotto ticket on 1.1 billion? Isn't this like the 4th or 5th time we've had $1 billion lotto in the past couple of years? Keeps happening. I wonder what California will do all that money. What's my handicap now? Like in golf? Pfft. I haven't even swung a golf club since 2019. Why not? Yeah, 1.1 billion. Why not? You never know. Buy one ticket. No trades for me. I took a couple of long Nasdaqs earlier today, but nothing much. Nothing on my personal account, just prop. Full port Mega Millions. I told y'all if I won the 1.1 billion, my goal would be to show up on the book map. I would place a large enough ES order to show up on the book map. Might be a couple $100 million. Did I see the new Roadhouse? No, I didn't. Don't forget who your friends are. Yeah. Would it be a spoof? No. Let us know which ticker for some insider trading. There you go. How many orders do we know for future reference? What's 100 million divided by notional? That'd be approximately what? 7 or 8,000, 7,500 ES contracts. I probably wouldn't be able to do it. I would have to do a sweep, honestly. I don't think you can place that on one brokerage. It wouldn't fill. You'd have to place a sweep across multiple exchanges, which would move the market. SSC's entered the chat. Yeah. Give out $5,000 to each of my subscribers. Yeah. I'd do something. I'd do something fun. Become a broker. Start my own prop firm. There you go. The jabroni prop. There's only one rule with my prop. Don't be a jabroni. Do I look for accumulation distribution in 5-minute when you scalp? I start to look for the beginning stages of distribution accumulation on the 5-minute. And then I go to the 15, and then I go to the 30, and then I go to the 60, and so on and so forth. And right now, we are paying the picture of distribution on the 5-minute. Go to the 5, 15, 30, 60, 120. It's all got a little top wiki here. But we'll see. Oh, that's the trippy Mike. That's amazing. That's amazing. I may do something funner. That's right. That's right, Yadis. There's only one real be a jabroni. What the heck's a jabroni? Indeed. What's a jabroni indeed? It's a very philosophical question for us. What does it mean to be a jabroni? I have the friend in the United States that bought me a $20 ticket. As a Canadian, I wouldn't have to pay a tax on winnings. Heck yeah. I might set up a P.O. box in Canada then. I'll move my permanent residence there and play it as if I'm going to win. All right, Nasdaq's coming up to new high of the day here. 542. And yeah, we'll give it a few more minutes here. All right, according to Urban Dictionary, a jabroni is a loser, no good SOB, talks a lot of crap but can never back it up. A loser, poser, lame. One who talks the talk but never walks the walk. I don't agree with that. It's a one-size-fits-all insult. Jabroni can be used to insult anyone or anything. That could be a poser, lame, an a-hole, an MF, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. The Iron Sheik was tough on me, yeah. I've been called worse. Oh, yeah. The Iron Sheik, baby. The Iron Sheik. Top wicks, again. That's another decent-sized green candle. Top wick back down. I'm married. I love it. Five two nine. Five two four. Starting to come off a little bit. Bottom wick back up. Instantly. Can't play anything. Still riding the 200 EMA or SMA, by the way, if that matters. Oh, man. Why is there a picture of my face in the dictionary next to that word? I love it, Paul. I love it. All right. So if religion going higher, who's not in by now? That's not what's in. I really have to think up to this week. Beginning next week, see some counts to get money flowing. Continue higher. Monthly flows will show up Monday, Tuesday. But after that, I don't know. Right now, though, there's just persistent selling and buying over and over again, just rotating in and out, in and out. So that's the thing. We haven't really bought up anything since December. You know, Nasdaq is just tiptoeing higher. I mean, right now we are only a couple of hundred points higher than we were in January. It's just tiptoeing, and just this enough selling to keep it flat. ES is definitely a little bit more bullish because of the banks, but who knows, man? Who knows? Who knows? You know, it's just a lot of selling. Or, I'm sorry, a lot of buying intertwined with a lot of selling. $52, $53. There goes another red. If you could please look at the 1020 candle on NASDAQ, can that be considered a high volume test? Which time frame? 5 minute? Let's go take a look. 1020. Well, the 1015 candle, you're talking about, if you mean Eastern time, so I'll look at the 920. Let's see. Not really. I have a 930, 1030. Now, I mean, there's not really many high volume rejections. All top wicks and rejections have been relatively low volume. It's just, we're not buying, we're not selling. There's not a lot of participation here. Just garbage. Do you know about the Meet Kevin YouTuber I saw that he's running his own ETF? Have you looked at starting one? No. I haven't. I didn't know that though. Meet Kevin YouTuber. I think it's a lot of money to start an ETF. If I remember right, I think it's like a couple $100,000 a year just to pay the fees. It's a lot of money. And all I would do is just buy SPY. It would be the most boring ETF in the world. Yeah, 100,000 to 200, 500,000. Yeah, Jabroni ETF. Yeah. Meet Kevin. Who is this guy? Got 2 million subscribers. Real estate, finance, motivation, and success. How to invest in real estate in 2024. I'll have to watch that. That'll be my litmus test on what he's about. All right, I'm going to give this about 5 more minutes or so, and we'll call it a day. It's obviously pretty disgusting price action. Yeah. What kind of pizza oven do I have? I have the Uni 16-inch. It's the gas or electric pizza oven. You can do either one. I dropped my breakfast sandwich on the floor. Bear showing me to should I bought the dip and eat the floor off the sandwich. Eat the floor sandwich. I don't know, man. If depending on how good of a sandwich it is, I'm eating that thing. 5-second rule, right? If it's got some gabagoo on it, you betcha I'm eating it. Trump's bond reduced to 175 million. Well, we're riding up a little trend. We do have a little bit of a kind of upwards momentum here, but we're not going any higher. We're not going any lower. Analyzing this is kind of like analyzing, well, I get like one of Biden's speeches. Just doesn't make any sense. So, just I would probably always wait for a little bit of volume, a little bit of movement. Right now, it's nothing. Just better to go about your day, do something else. We'll come back for the afternoon and see if anything's going on. But not to mention we don't have any catalyst today. If we look at tomorrow, we have got a little bit more, not much, but not much. You know, consumer confidence 10 o'clock, durable goods 8:30, 5-year note at 1 o'clock, that type of thing. So. Yeah, man. Try to keep it as interesting as I can with this crap price action. Shorten holiday week, but we'll get through this, and maybe we can kick off a little April Fool's foolery next week. So, yeah, I will see you all bright and early in the morning, Tuesday, March 26th. If things do happen to pick up this afternoon, I'll come back on and see what's coming on here, but I kind of doubt it. We'll see. But remember to play the pattern. The overarching theme right now, remember, play the pattern. Buy the lows, sell the highs. Buy the lows, sell the highs. That's the plan. And I wouldn't deviate too far from that. So, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. I'll see you in the morning. I'm out. See you.